Thanks for joining us here on Focus on Africa from BBC World News. We begin tonight in Kenya, where mothers of disabled children say they've been pressurized to kill their babies born with a disability. In a 2-year study, the charity Disability Rights International interviewed 90 women who had chosen to keep their children. They described being shunned by their families and communities because their babies were considered cursed or possessed. The BBC's Anne Soy sent this report from Nairobi.
It's a life fraught with difficulty. Even with the best care, things would have been tough for Meshach Kipchumba. Born in rural Kenya, where disability is considered a curse, he is literally lucky to be alive. If some of his relatives had their way, he would have been killed as an infant.
Akaniambia hapana, huyu mtoto anakupotezea muda.
I was chased from home. A friend took me in, but after 3 weeks, she asked me to put acid in my son's food. I refused to poison my child and left.
Florence has struggled ever since, doing odd jobs to survive. But not enough to afford a wheelchair. She's not alone. Many women in rural Kenya say they are pressured to kill disabled children. No one knows how many of them give in. But infanticide has deep cultural roots. I'm trying to understand the cultural context, why people would kill children with disabilities. So I've come to a village near the Masai Mara to meet with a traditional birth attendant. Oh, sopa. A shilling.
The way our people used to do it was torturous. They just let the child die because they thought it couldn't live a normal life. It would be laid outside without food and would starve to death. It would then not be buried.
Those who choose to defy tradition do not always keep their babies. Compassionate Hands is a care home in Nairobi. I have a newfound friend here. These children have learning disabilities, but as you can see, they need love, just like all other children. But the reality is, their mothers, their families have faced a lot of stigma, and many of them have been forced to abandon them in institutions like these. Their parents simply never returned. Such is the demand. There are now 86 children here, living in conditions experts say will only make their health worse. Anne says the only thing the government gives them are more children to care for. Every month, Florence meets up with other mothers who have gone through similar things. Like Lydia. She was asked to insert needles into her son's wrists. She was told it would cause a slow but secret death. They draw strength from each other. In a society where some would rather their children did not exist. Anne Soy, BBC News, Narok.
Let's speak to the author of that report, Priscila Rodriguez, now from Disability Rights International. Priscila, thanks for joining us on Focus on Africa. I know you only spoke to 90 mothers in the course of this 2-year report, but just how widespread in Kenya, starting in Kenya, is this practice?
We believe it's quite widespread. We surveyed 61 mothers, and 45 of them said they had been pressured to kill their child. When we divide the information by those who were interviewed in Nairobi and those outside Nairobi, the percentage rose to 60% to those in the rural areas. So we believe it's a very widespread problem in the whole of Kenya.
And I, for instance, come from Nigeria. I know that such things also happen in parts of the country, or used to happen in parts of the country. But you have a picture of the continent and how widespread this is across other African countries.
Well, Kenya is the first country that Disability Rights International has started working on in Africa, but we've seen this problem also in other countries in Latin America. I'm from Mexico myself, and we've documented this particularly also in Guatemala.
And what help? We hear in that report saying that the government only just produces more disabled children to this particular home for the disabled children. But does the government provide any money, or have you been talking to them?
Yes, we've been talking to the government, and the government has a program to provide $20 a month to mothers of children with severe disabilities. But getting registered for this program is very difficult, and mothers have to spend money on transport and on registration fees. And on top of that, there is a very long waiting list.
And what about these parents who just abandon these children at these orphanages and at these homes? Is there any law at all that can deter them from such practices?
Well, killing a child is illegal, but abandoning a child should be illegal, especially in this type of institutions that are so dangerous for children who are in them. They are basically put there to suffer a slow death. But we also believe that women, or particularly mothers of children with disabilities, are faced with an impossible choice: be ostracized from their communities entirely or abandon their child.
And of course, we've seen this particular orphanage there. You know, the children, obviously, just normal children like any other children who've got disabilities. But are there many other people who are doing, you know, such good for the kids?
We believe that there are several institutions for children with disabilities in Kenya. And what we've seen is that the level of disability is minor. All these children could live in the community easily with supports. If the government respected their right to be included in the community and to live in a family, the supports they would need would not be a lot.
Okay, Priscila Rodriguez from Disability Rights International speaking to us there live from Nairobi. Thank you very much.